It sounds simple, but it's more complex than you think. The famous linguist, Roman Jakobson, broke it down into 3 types. First, there's interlingual translation. This is like rephrasing something within the same language. Think about explaining a complicated scientific paper in simple, everyday terms. That's interlingual translation. You're translating from one version of English to another. Next, we have interlingual translation. This is the one we're all familiar with, translating from one language to another, like from Spanish to English or from Japanese to French. This is often called translation proper because it's the classic definition. And third, there's intersemiotic translation. This one is super interesting. It's translating from one sign system to another. For example, turning a novel into a movie. You're translating the written words on the page into visual and auditory signs on the screen. Or think about turning a musical score into a dance performance. It's a translation from notes to movement. Pretty cool, right? So, with that foundation, what exactly is translation studies? Well, it's the academic discipline that studies all of this. For a long time, translation was just seen as a part of language learning. People didn't really think about it as a field of study in its own right. It was until the second half of the 20th century that it really started to gain momentum and become a proper academic discipline. People realized there was so much to explore. The processes, the theories, the impact of translations on culture. It was a huge shift from just asking, is this translation correct, to asking, how does this translation work and what are its effects? A pivotal moment for the field was the creation of a map of translation studies by James S. Holmes, which was later popularized by Gideon Toury. This map is super helpful for understanding how everything fits together. Holmes divided the field into 2 main branches, pure and applied. The pure branch is all about describing and explaining the phenomenon of translation. It's the theoretical side of things. This branch is further split into 2 parts. First is descriptive translation studies, or DTS. This part looks at existing translations. It might focus on the product, meaning the translated text itself, or it could focus on the function of the translation in its new culture. Or it might focus on the process, trying to understand what actually happens in the translator's mind. The other part of the pure branch is translation theory. This is where scholars use the findings from descriptive studies to build general principles or theories. The goal is to create models that can explain and even predict how translations are done. Then we have the applied branch of Holmes's map. As the name suggests, this is the practical side of the field. It deals with real